You are listening to the Interview Podcast,
where we interview the real you.
We discover our guests' passions, skills, dreams, and wisdom they've learned along the way.
Get ready for some friendly banter,
Controversial hot takes.
Christian pickup lines, and riveting conversations.
Let's dive in. Hey guys, how's it going? It's great to be back. Man, I tell you what, it feels like too much time between these episodes, which there's only one person to blame for that. That's yours truly, Derek Miller. So it is good to be back with you for this episode here. And of course, this is a season, a time where it'll be just me for a little bit, or I'm kind of steering the ship on my own. My co-captain, Jennifer, is gone for the time being, hanging out in Florida, soaking up the sunshine, working, doing her thing down there. So really glad for her down there. But yeah, so going to be some kind of different little style episodes, something to mix it up a little bit, but I hope you guys enjoy, and we just appreciate the support so much. So big shout out to our Patreon subscribers for sponsoring this episode. Really appreciate you. The love, the consistency. That $3 makes a big difference. We pay for the studio here and stuff. So if you're still interested in being a part of that, you can do that. It's $3 a month. We muchas gracias de nada. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So another guy I want to give a shout out to because he was just super thoughtful today. So it's brought to you by our Patreon subscribers and also Darius Schleybaugh. He brought me a coffee out of the blue today. Just super thoughtful. Really appreciate you, Darius. So we're pulling OT right now. Thanks to Darius and the coffee from Open Road. So much obliged, much appreciated. So thank you much. All right. Today, we are going to be talking a little bit about goals and priorities. So this is something that I've really enjoyed learning about, and I'm continually learning, have not aced it, not even close, but we're getting there. We're working on it, and it's just a continual process. So we're in February now. We're a little over a month into the year. And just, it's really good to kind of pause and take a look at where we're at. Is the year, has it been what I was hoping for? Are there expectations that I had that I haven't met? Are there things that I wanted to change that I haven't? And I think it's good just to kind of stop, even every month. And whether you're a goal setter or monthly, yearly, really whatever it is, but take time for reflection. And because I think we live in a world that just constantly doesn't want us to slow down and doesn't want us to sit and reflect on where we're at and where we've come from. And as we're looking at that, it's whether you're a goal person or not, looking at this year, are there things that you want to accomplish? Have you prioritized the way you wanted to? Because I think even for me, a lot of times it's like I do the things that I want to do that are towards my goals or towards the new things, but I don't do them consistently and I don't make them priority. So I think a lot of times it can just be this thing of wow, I need to just make this priority. And it's pretty easy to just chill, to not do it, and just to kind of default, or especially if you're trying to instill new habits or anything like that. So I got a couple questions for you. I got a couple journaling prompts if you're into that. I don't know if anybody's out there, a little journaling action. But there's a newsletter that I subscribe to. His name is Sahil Bloom. If you're interested in actually signing up for that, you're welcome to. But he sends out this stuff that's really good, just some questions, a couple-minute read. And I'm going to hit you with a couple of the questions that he put out there that I thought were very convicting. So here they are. You feel free to dwell on these, write them down, do whatever you want with them, toss them out, punt them, whatever you want. So question number 1, if I repeated my current typical day for 100 days, would my life be better or worse? It's a great question. Numero dos, if someone observed my actions for a week, what would they say my priorities are? This, I recently took some time to do this, and he called it Sahil called it like a think day. He'll do this where he'll just carve out, a couple hours, or at least, you can even start with a half hour, an hour, just, and have a couple thoughts that you write down, or a couple questions, and then just write down what comes to your mind there and just kind of reflect on that. And so I've been working on that, and that was really good. If someone observed just my actions, what would they say my priorities are? And, it was just what you got to write down, because what you put time into, and what you did. And, so it was just really good. It was a very hard-hitting question that was really good even just to put down on paper, because you're like, oh yeah, that's true. This is what my actions are saying. And I'm not saying this to say that all these are bad, because they're not. I think there's just a lot of times we can kind of have this idea in our head of what we want to do, or at least I do, at least of what I want to do, what I want to prioritize, what I say is important, and what I know is important that I will tell people that is important. but do I actually do it? Do I actually make it priority? And yeah, it's been hitting me. So, but it's good. So that was number 2. Number 3, I really like this one. I like them all, but I really like this one because I think this one's really good. If I were the main character in a movie of my life, what would the audience be screaming at me to do right now? What is the thing that is so blatantly obvious that I need to be doing? And no, we are not the main character. Christ is the main character, 100%. But when you look at our lives and you look at maybe there's a passion God's laid on your heart, or maybe there's a skill that you want to cultivate that He's given you, or whatever, like what is that thing that's in front of you that you know you're supposed to go after, or you're supposed to change, or you're supposed to do, or the conversation you're supposed to have, or the skill you're supposed to develop, what, guys, it can be 1,000 different things. The diet you're supposed to change. What is that one thing that, in the movies we see it, if you're into like the thrillers, whatever, that kind of jazz, they often make poor decisions and you're like yelling at them like it's so obvious. Like in the horror movies, like, no, don't go into the cabin alone with no electricity in the woods. You're probably going to die. Like, duh. So anyway, so I just really like that question because I think probably for a lot of us, there's something that's there in the back of our heads that we know kind of the next step. We know the next step, but we're afraid to take it because maybe we're afraid where that'll lead us, or we can't see the whole picture. So we're just afraid to take that next step. But really, like, what is the audience? What are all the people around me? What are my friends? Or if I was the main character in a movie, what is everyone screaming at me to do? So take some time. Think on that. Think on that for sure. So it's good. It's good to just kind of reflect and see what God says, see what pops in. Take time to be quiet on that and think on that. So I love the analogy of putting your big rocks in the jar first. I don't know if you've ever heard this or not. I probably have. It's not original with Derek. Don't quote me. Don't give me credit. Stop it. Do not do that. But the whole thing of like, so each day is a jar. And so you can put in like the little pebbles and like the sand and like some of the odd shaped rocks maybe and stuff like that, like the little stuff. But then when you go to put in your big rocks, it doesn't fit. It doesn't work. So the analogy is put your big rocks in first, the stuff that's most important, the stuff that you really need to get done, put that in first, and then whatever else kind of fits in is fine, and maybe it doesn't all fit in, but that's okay because the big rocks are in. So I've been challenged with that and been trying to implement that in my life. And granted, that means maybe being more of a morning person. I like staying up late, but I am liking getting up early. It is a very good thing. And some people would maybe say they're not a morning person. You're talking to the king of non-morning persons. Guilty as charged. But I feel like I've changed a lot even in the last couple of years, and kind of on this journey of like, I don't know, like growth or self-development, or just like learning what does prioritizing, goal setting, and discipline, like what does all that mean? I think one of the things that has kept coming back is like getting up early and starting out your day and getting the really important stuff done. Now, granted, there's a lot of different scenarios. There's a lot of different people that have different jobs, that have different things where it's maybe not possible to do that. So I do get that. But if there are things even in your personal life, whether it's your devotions, whether it's personal time, prayer with God, whatever it is, or if there's something that you want to study and learn about, doing that at the first part of the day, getting up earlier rather than trying doing it later in the evening when you have less willpower, you're going to be more tired most likely, and it is much harder to make like decisions on things. You're a lot weaker at that point, or at least I tend to be. Maybe you're not. Maybe you get stronger. God bless you. Keep rolling with that. Embrace that. But yeah, so just something is. And that means being disciplined the night before you go to bed. And that's probably the hardest part for me too. Like I like getting up early and my alarm goes off early, but then I just kind of like lay there and just enjoy laying in my bed. I'm not a pop out of bed in the morning kind of guy. So working on it, but haven't mastered it at all. So, but yeah, so what does it look like to do that and to prioritize things in life? And so even at your work and at your job, it's easy to get there and kind of, hit the little things that maybe check something off the list, but don't actually move the needle on things, depending on what your role is, what your work is. I've been really challenged with that. It's pretty easy to get caught up in busy work. But what am I actually working on that's really moving the needle? And is this things to just fill time, or am I actually really doing the things that deserve the priority? I'm constantly impacted by that and challenged by that. So working on that. So you can keep me accountable on that. If you see me out on the street, walking, wherever, just be like, Derek, are you prioritizing? Are you putting the big rocks in first? Just hit me with that question. I welcome it. And I'll be very honest, because there's going to be times that I don't. So working on it. So one thing, if you're looking to implement something new, evaluating in the past, what is the system or the thing that I've tried? I've tried different diets, I've tried different disciplines, routines. And if that hasn't yielded the results that I want, maybe we need to try something different. Maybe we need to try a new path, a new system, a new level of accountability, trying something different. Doing the exact same things and expecting different results is kind of the definition of insanity. But also maybe it's kind of some of the same things, but it's structured different, or do something different if the results the things that you've been trying haven't given you the results you've wanted there. So I've even been really been challenged with the whole thing of consistency. I think often we think consistency is showing up and doing the same thing every time, where maybe oftentimes I've seen it like this little graph, it's only a little bit, you only get a little bit of the workout in, or you only read for 2 minutes, or you only, whatever it can be, just showing up is the consistent part. Even if it's not great, you don't feel it, whatever. If you can show up and practice that piano, practice guitar, even for 5 minutes, just showing up, keeping your word to yourself that you're hey, I'm committed to this. I'm going to be consistent. You know what? I don't have much time tonight, but I'm going to show up for 5 minutes. I'm going to play 2 notes, just something to show up, to continually form that habit there. So I've been challenged with that, because I think often we can look at, if it's a workout program, or if it's an instrument, or if it's a language, and we're just it looks so big. But honestly, I've heard that instead of just setting the goal, set your habits and your routines, and the goals just happen. And I was like, wow, that actually, I really love the simplicity of that. Is whatever goal it is, break it down, make it a habit, make it a routine, make it even just doable where you can do it. And, over a year, guys, a year is not that long. It may seem like a long time, but over a year, you can make some really, really vast improvement in a year's time, even starting with 5 minutes a day at something, So if you want to brush up on your Espanol, hola, oui, si, señor. I know a little bit of Ugandan. Okulaba, I can teach you a little Ugandan, but trust me, it's not going to get you very far. If you need food and the bathroom, I can teach you that. So take that time, spend that short amount of time working towards something, and be amazed with what happens. Set those habits, set those routines. Pretty much everything in life is compounding one way or the other, to the good and to the bad. So, if you have something that's not really, whatever it is, it's kind of compounding, it's growing. Whatever you're feeding is growing. Pretty much everything is. So whether that's to the good or the bad, it works both ways. So anyway, so as we go from here, what's some action that we can all take here in this new year? And so maybe this week, sometime here, sit down, make a list. If you haven't, just make a list of a few things that you're hey, this would be cool to do. This would be a great hobby to have. Whatever it is, it can be, whatever the goals are that you have, maybe make a list of those things, and then just start with a small amount it's too easy. Pick a number, pick a time, pick a length, whatever it is, of oh wow, this I could do, this is easy, this is 2 minutes, or this is whatever, and just start with that and just start doing it consistently. So make that list, start where it's too easy, where it doesn't even take effort, doesn't even take that much effort to show up, but just show up, start showing up for that. And so make your list, check it twice, and then and then just start doing it, start going after it. So the other thing you can do, I'll throw this out, is I've really liked this kind of angle from it is making an anti-list. So I've heard from different guys that I follow and that have said things that it's, you know what, it's not what they added to their routine, or it's not what they added, but it's what they took away. And I think that can honestly be so true, because sometimes or a lot of times I know for me, I'll allow, I want to read this book, I want to finish this book, but I will sit on the couch first and look at Instagram, or I'll just do other things first. I'll do other things that really crowd out that time because I haven't put my big rock in the jar first, and that'll kind of crowd that out just naturally. And so maybe it's the kind of thing where it's like, hey, you know what? I don't maybe have all these things that I want to accomplish, but this is something in my life that I want to cut out. If it's something on my phone, if it's if it's always going out to eat, it could be a thousand different things. But you're like, hey, I think everyone will probably have something maybe that you just sit there and be like, you know what? What's something that if I continue on this pattern, or this is not leading me to like necessarily a good place, or it's just not beneficial, make an anti-list. Write that stuff down and then be like, you know what should I fill with this? What should I put in this time? How am I going to limit this? And then I'm going to put in, or even just limiting it, having it at a healthy balance. I feel like so much of life is a balance. So there's some stuff, guys. If you want to take some time this week, just sit down, have a little time, get the old journal out. I know for guys, journaling isn't super manly, but you know what? Real men journal. I'm going to put it out there, put it on a shirt, put it on a plaque to put up in your house. Real Men Journal. So just go for it, you guys. You got it. I believe in you. Real men cry, real men journal, So anyway, I really appreciate each one of you out there. Thank you so much for the support that you guys show. Really, really appreciate it. One final thing here kind of on this. Well, I've got two more things after this, but the third to final thing is you also, in life, I think there's a lot of just kind of pressures that are almost go unbeknownst to like life and society and what we're expected to do and what we're expected not to do. And yeah, there's just like really our environment just kind of shapes us and guides us into like how we spend our time and what we do. And yeah, like what are our hobbies? That's by the culture around us. There's some kids that they're playing lacrosse. They're fencing for a living because that's the environment they're in. They're playing polo on $100,000 horses, because that's the environment that they're in. So anyway, money has a factor in that, of course, but it's just like I'm seeing more and more as I live life that we're really so much products of our environment, and we really kind of naturally just kind of conform to that. And some of that can be good, but I also think that's a lot of it can be like, oh yeah, well, my friends are always doing this, or this is the sports they play, or this is the social media platforms they're on, or so I got to do that too. And so with that being said, you do not have to subscribe to what other people's idea of fun is. You do not have to give into that, or you do not have to feel like, oh, wow, something's wrong with me, that I don't enjoy this, or that I just want to be at home and like do my own thing. Or granted, don't be a bum. Don't isolate yourself. There's, like I said, there's a balance, don't unbalance the teeter-totter, please. So, but you do not have to subscribe to other people's idea of fun. You can have your complete own idea of what you think fun is, and just be okay with that and enjoy that. Invite people along for that and whatever. So don't feel the pressure to just give into that. So yeah, granted, there are times and people that I like doing stuff with, regardless of what we're doing. It doesn't really matter because it's the kind of people that you're around, and you can make the best of it. I honestly enjoy being in I don't know whether it's tough situations or random situations with different people, just because I know it's going to be fun and we're going to make the best of it. So anyway, so for what it's worth, that's for the what it's worth department. Just throwing that out there to you. Anyway, so I got two things here. Yeah, second to last one. I don't know. There have been some memes recently that have just absolutely almost brought me to tears, made me weak almost. And I'm going to read this one, and I feel like I'm going to tell you this one, and I feel like it's almost funnier reading it maybe, but I'm just going to read it to you, and I hope you enjoy it. I almost woke the entire house late last night when I read this, because I was like, wow, that's incredible. That's so well written. If I could make a meme like this, I think I would retire. I think I would hang it up because I thoroughly enjoyed it. So here we go. We got to stop giving Bible names without teaching Bible lessons. I just got robbed by Abraham. I cannot explain. Let me read it one more time in case you missed it or in case you need it again. We got to stop giving Bible names without teaching Bible lessons. I just got robbed by Abraham. It just hit me in such a way. I was there cackling. I almost woke the women and children. It was wild. So, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I wanted to share that. So that was one of the best memes I've seen recently. But yes. So glad you enjoyed that. Final one I got for you. I got a little pickup line for you in case you've been missing out, in case the arsenal is low, in case the quiver is almost out of arrows to shoot, of pickup lines. I got one for you. So here we go. I'm going to leave you with this here today. So pickup line, here we go. So here's my number. Call me if you need prayer. Just start throwing that out there. Throw it out there to them. Honestly, if they don't respond, then obviously they're probably not super spiritual because they don't need prayer. So you probably didn't want them anyway. So you know what? The good ones are going to respond because we all need prayer, don't we? Amen. Preach. Great. Awesome. Love you guys. Appreciate you so much. Hopefully we'll be back at you here before long, but appreciate y'all so much. God bless. God bless America. Take care. Have a great week.